Hello, hello, hello. What's going on, everybody? Happy day after Thanksgiving to everybody. Happy Black Friday. Hope you all had a great day hanging out with friends and family. I was able to fortunately get together with my family, my wife's family. That was great. What was less great was Lamar Jackson scoring like 6 fantasy points for the 4th week in a row, and Amon-Ra St. Brown getting injured on the first drive of the game and scoring 0 points. That stuff was less fun. So there's definitely some carnage in the Dynasty matchups this week. Hoping the boys can rally and overcome. I'm sure many of you are in similar spots, but we persevere. And today, we're not worried about 2025. We're not worried about week 13 at all. We're here to do a startup mock draft that is focused on next season, not this season. Points for 2025 don't matter today. We're looking ahead, and we're going to get into a little startup mock draft. We're going to try to get into it quickly because the Eagles play at 3 o'clock. I'm pretty invested in watching that game. So let's get this thing started here shortly. I see many in the chat. Appreciate you all being here on short notice. A lot of members down there. Austin and Frielster, Max and Joey, Nico. What's up, guys? Yellow's here in the chat. Happy to see you all. I'm going to be posting a link in the chat. So this is first come, first serve. I apologize if you have a bad internet connection. Not much I can do about it, unfortunately, but you can jump into the mock draft and grab a spot. If you don't get in, stick around. You can make some popcorn. You can make fun of our picks. Tell us who we should be drafting. You can argue about it in the chat, all that good stuff. And I'll try to commentate live as best I can. Here's the wrinkle. The wrinkle here is that we are drafting rookie picks as well. Okay, so 2026 rookie picks are available to be drafted in the form of kickers. So when you're on the clock, if you want to select a rookie pick, you'd rather have the 101 over whatever players are available, you need to just draft a kicker. Okay, I'm sure most of you have done this before. Why Sleeper has not yet invented rookie picks as a draftable asset yet, I don't know. They've only been asked about it about 1 billion times, but I guess they're a little bit more concerned with finding ways to add more gambling features to their app. But anyway, we're going to draft kickers. So when you see somebody take Tyler Loop or Jake Elliott, don't be confused. Those are 2026 rookies. And that's a big part of why we're doing this, is kind of seeing where the market's at on these picks and whether I think, you guys are being overly aggressive or too tentative with these rookie picks. And over the next couple weeks, months, as we get towards the end of the year, more and more content is going to be centered around that 2026 class, how we should be valuing players relative to picks, because once the offseason hits, everything is focused on the rookie draft. Everything revolves around that. So, all right, let's get over into the draft view. I'm going to be dropping the link in the chat here in a moment. If you're not already, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and go ahead and like the video if you don't mind. It means a lot to me. Keep an eye out for that link. It's going to come through, I guess, a little before you hear me say it here. So go ahead and fill this thing. Grab a spot. This is a 12-team start 10 Superflex PPR tight end premium Dynasty mock draft. You're going to have 60 seconds on the clock. Again, 20-25 points do not matter. Okay? So whatever you think a player is going to score the rest of the way, it doesn't matter unless you think that's going to carry over to next year, right? Otherwise, you can decide how you want to do this. Do you want to, load up on picks? Do you want to go for rookies? Do you want to go for older players you think are going to be undervalued in the offseason? You can decide. We've got Joe Fest here in the 1 spot. We've got Samuel Warren, XXL. I'm not going to read that name. Op Yurt, JMO222. Austin always finds a way to get into these things. I don't know how he does it. He must have the absolute best internet connection. Lucas Williams, Juan Shashko, Sizzle4CG, another league-winning member here with Freelster right next to me, getting ready to snipe every single one of my picks. And we're not doing third round reversal. I think the meta has probably flipped, where I don't really think third round reversal is. I'm not convinced it's necessary right now with the way that things are laid out. As far as like the assets at the top of the board, I don't know if you're getting the same type of advantage as we've seen in recent years. But we'll see. We can look back on it when we're done, and then we can go ahead and decide. But yeah. Let's get this thing started here. Hopefully Joe Fest is ready to rock. We're going to get this mock draft started. I don't know why it gave him a minute and 3 seconds. It's a little bit odd. All right. One more reminder, guys. Rookie picks are draftable in the form of kickers. Don't forget. And we are off to the races. Jamar Chase as the 101. Not who I would go with, but I don't hate it. I think there are really 4 players right now that I would consider with the number 1 pick, and I'll name those players once they're all off the board. Yep, that's another one. Chase Allen. I mean, what do you want? More do you want from Josh Allen, right? He just does it every year. Jahmyr Gibbs, number 3 overall. That's an interesting one. Drake May, 4th. I have done by the way, guys, I've done absolutely no prep for this. I haven't done a single startup since July or maybe early August. So I'm just winging it. JSN, by the way, was the 4th player. So I think Chase, JSN, May, and Allen are your 4 101 candidates right now. And then I think right after that, you've got, I think Daniels, if you're looking at next year, right, I think Daniels is in that conversation. I think Lamar will figure things out. He's in that conversation in the next group, Puka Nacua. But yeah, I think those 4 guys, May, Allen, Chase, JSN, those are really the guys that you're looking at. Now it's coming up to me here at the end of round 1. I've got to make 2 picks. Honestly, this one feels like a pretty easy turn for me. I think I know who I'd like to get here. Bijan goes at 9. Lamar goes at 10, finally ending the slide. And then, of course, there goes Neighbors. That's one of the 2 guys I really, really wanted. It makes total sense that Freelster would do that to me. So Hurts is also gone. I don't love the idea of going with one of these quarterbacks, but I think I might. Jefferson is just, he's still a young player, but like he's getting to an age where I need him to massively produce immediately. And I don't know how they're going to handle this quarterback situation. I'm going to lock in Brock Bowers with this first pick, but I'm just going to give myself a little extra time to talk through the board here. If I'm taking a quarterback, it would be Pat Mahomes. He's really had a resurgence in terms of fantasy value. So I think Mahomes is a pretty valid pick here. Otherwise, I'd be looking at like doubling up at tight end with McBride. I don't want to do 2 tight ends here. I do like McBride a lot. And then I don't know. I just really would struggle to take Jefferson, Lamb, or Amon-Ra here at the 201 spot. Just, Lamb is still I think the alpha there in Dallas, but Pickens really giving him a run for his money. Him and Jefferson both going to be 27 next year, and then Amon-Ra going to be 26. They're all fine picks in this spot. I will take Mahomes and see what happens. Austin, don't rush me on my own stream. The people are here to listen to me yap about players. That's the whole point of this. All right. Love the Neighbors McBride start. Love the Lamar Lamb start. Top of these drafts are looking pretty nice. Like right now, it feels pretty deep all the way till at least the end of round 2. I think you feel really good about the players you're getting. Maybe even to round 3. I don't know if that means that we have more elite players than we did. I mean, I guess all of the guys that we've seen, pretty much all of these guys we've seen in the first round and a half, other than JSN, were all going in the first 2 rounds of startups before the season. Right? May was a very late second round pick. JSN was a 3rd round startup pick. But I haven't seen, none of these other players are new to this area of the draft. And there we go with the first rookie pick. So that's an interesting comparison here. Genty followed by the 101, 2026 101, which I think right now, I think it's going to hold, is Jeremiah Love. And I think you can make a good argument either way. Like, we don't know where Jeremiah Love's going to go. It's hard to imagine it being a worse spot than Genty. And you can argue Genty going into year 2 maybe will project as a better asset versus Love in year 1, but you get that extra year back with Jeremiah Love. So I think there's going to be an interesting conversation to be had between the two. If I had to choose right now, I would take the 101 over Genty just for the flexibility, because of what you can possibly trade that pick for later. People love picks, and it's just easier to move picks than players most of the time. But I think ultimately I'll probably prefer Love slightly to Genty, but we'll see, I guess, how these things age. We're getting to the end of the second round here. Rice actually sneaks in. London goes at 209. We get Caleb Williams here in the second round. I think that's interesting given some of the other options that are on the board. One of them being Justin Herbert. I would just clearly prefer Herbert, who's been awesome this year. He's also, like, I don't know if he still is. He was leading all quarterbacks in rushing. I don't mind the Achane pick here at 301. I don't agree with the comment that he should be in the same tier. I just think you just have a lot more uncertainty with Achane. The type of player that he is, I think, requires a little bit more of a specific coaching style. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that any coach could come in and replace Mike McDaniel, and Achane would be getting, a 20% target share, and as an undersized back would be getting so much of the rushing work, so much of all that. So I think there's a little bit more ambiguity with his situation that should be priced in, personally. I love him. He's awesome. I just think Gibbs and Bijan are a little bit safer. And I think with high value running backs, that's really, really important. Okay, we're getting T-Mac off the board here at 3-4. I really like that value. Dak at 3-3 feels pretty aggressive. I don't love that. I'm going to try to get ahead of this thing here and start making my own plans. Okay, that guy, they're all gone. Egbuka's gone. London is gone. Dart goes 3-5. Achane and Hampton are gone. I was hoping one of those guys might come back to me, but I didn't really expect it to happen. Nico is gone. Caleb is gone. Okay, so I see how this thing is shaping up. There goes Tyler Warren. These are good picks. Definitely good picks. I've got a couple players in mind that I would not mind drafting, but we'll see how it goes. I'm sure whoever's at the top of my queue, Frielster's taking at 311. Okay, things kind of slowed down here for a second. I do see Austin went with the 3 wide receiver start. Puka, Amon-Ra, Egbuka. That's pretty fun. I know that is the Dynasty domain approved start. It definitely works well here when you can get these types of values. Thought we might get our first auto pick. We go Brian Thomas at 309, maybe a controversial selection with how much value he's lost. It's definitely a bet on a bounce back next season. The only reason I wouldn't make that pick is just that I'm skeptical. And yep, Frielster took the top of my queue. I'm just skeptical how much value he's going to get back here late in the season. I think he'll be available at a lower price tag than this. I've got Bowers Mahomes here. Looking at the wide receiver position, it's been somewhat hollowed out, but I could definitely see taking one particular wide receiver here. I've also got an option of rookie picks, which is kind of tempting to me. Again, just taking the flexibility of a rookie pick here. I think, I think I'm going to go ahead and grab the 103. I foresee that pick being in the same tier as the 102. I don't think there's going to be a huge difference there, at least how it looks right now. And then I'll grab a wide receiver, a guy I've been pretty wrong on this year. I like to pick one wide receiver to be just extremely wrong about every season, and I think I chose George Pickens this year. I'll say less wrong than I was about JSN in the sense that I always thought he was talented, or at least since last year, his last season in Pittsburgh, I thought he took a big jump. I was just more skeptical of what he would do in this offense. And I guess I just underestimated how effective this offense was going to be, and also how thoroughly he was going to dominate Jake Ferguson for that number 2 target. And I guess just how versatile he was as a player. He's just been really impressive. And at this point, I have him ranked as the top 12 wide receiver. I think it's very likely he returns to Dallas. Jonathan Taylor's the other guy that I considered. I'm just always going to be a little bit hard pressed to take a 27-year-old running back coming off this type of volume in a startup. He's more like the guy I would acquire in an established league where I know I'm ready to make a push. I'd rather keep some flexibility here. I will say Bucky and Judkins over Taylor is interesting to me. I don't think I would go that far. Let me see. Let me catch up on the chat. I was kind of focused on the rankings. Yeah, the 102 to 104, I think, are good values right now. And, shout out to Dynasty Domain. I did catch their video, one of their recent videos. They're talking about rookie picks, and they called that out as well. I just think those top first, there's some really good wide receivers in this class. They're going to get really good draft capital, very strong prospects. You're going to want to get invested in those guys, and the value of those picks are going to rise for sure. Once these picks have names, right? Once Brandon Aubrey and Cameron Dicker are Jordan Tyson and Mekhi Lemon, they're going to probably be going higher in these drafts. So Garrett Wilson's a good pick there at that value. 4-7. There's just so much organizational uncertainty. We just don't know who's going to be the quarterback. It's been a long wait, right? Waiting for him to get that competent quarterback play. Hopefully it happens. Frielster defending his pick. Even with points for this year not counting, feels like Bucky over JT should be the pick. Yeah, it's just hard. I love Bucky Irving. Excited to see him play. It's hard to bet against what we've seen from Taylor so far this year, and I don't think we're going to see much change as far as Bucky's utilization, but there's always some risk with a smaller back coming with an injury issue, day 3 draft capital. I think Todd Bowles is just enough of a boomer coach that things could get switched up, and it's scary. It's a little bit scary. Definitely a guy I'm more interested in buying than selling, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You could be right. I mean, certainly you could be right. We could be doing this exercise later on, and I could be ranking Bucky ahead of Taylor. I don't really know for sure. We'll see how this season ends, I guess. I think Henderson I might have ahead of both of them. JT will be 27 next year. JT will turn 27 before next season, just to be clear. And that is an age where once you start suffering injuries at that age, if you miss time, your value just doesn't bounce back as hard. And there is going to be offensive regression. We're already seeing it these most recent weeks. He hasn't been going as crazy. You will see that offensive regression where first 2 months of the season, they were like the best offense of all time. Or not all time, but one of the best offenses we've seen in a long time as far as points per play, like yards per play, like all of the efficiency was just so unsustainable. And it's not that different from what we saw with Barkley last year, where so much of it is predicated on breaking these long explosive runs that end in touchdowns. Like Taylor's going to be a bit better at the goal line than Barkley because he doesn't have to worry about Hurts. And he has been catching a few more passes this year than he has in the past. But so much of his value is tied up in these long explosive plays. Those can be hit or miss. You can get hit with regression there. He's going to have the amount of volume that makes you a little bit concerned about health the following season and efficiency the following season. So I don't think it's just a given that we're going to see anything like this repeat next year. I don't think that's a foregone conclusion. So I just think it's worth talking about. I'm not saying he's a must sell or a huge fade or anything, but it's not as simple as, Taylor is still young and he was better this year, so he should be better next year. I think that there's layers to this. That is a high price to pay for Tucker Kraft, in my opinion. Even knowing points don't count this year, the injury he suffered is not too different from the Brandon Ayuk injury, and we've seen how long that has dragged on. I don't think it's a guarantee that we see a very effective version of Tucker Kraft next year. I hope we do. I really hope we do. But that's probably a risk I would be passing on right now. You guys can let me know how you feel. But that's kind of where I'm at. I've got a couple potentially sneaky picks here, but you guys might force my hand, I think. I'm trying to cross these players off as they get drafted so I can keep up. I really like the value on Purdy. And Jake Bates goes there to Austin. That's the 105. I was definitely going to go ahead and lock in that 105 pick if I had the chance. Because the great thing about 105 is there's probably like 4 solid top rookies right now. But that could grow, right? We could see that grow depending on the landing spots. Wow, that just emptied out my tiers. I had 105, 106, Zay Flowers, and Aronde Gadsden as the next several players on my list. So that's pretty cool. That definitely brings us down to a different caliber of player. Now I'm trying to think through this angle of, looking at next season, but I don't think there are any players on the board that I would rather have than just taking the next 2 rookie picks. I'll take the 107 and the 108. I don't feel that strongly about any of these players here that I think it's worth passing on the value accrual potential, the trade flexibility potential of these rookie picks. It's not going to look as fun at the end of the draft to not have any, a lot of star players in the lineup, but I just think by the time we get to February, March, April, I think you're going to solidly prefer the 7th or 8th pick in the first round to a Baker Mayfield type, CJ Stroud type. That's just the cycle that we tend to see. Every class is a little bit different. We'll see how these prospects pan out, but I think we're more likely to find more reasons to get excited than we are to become less excited with the rookie class. All right, Saquon Barkley finally comes off the board here. That's a 4-round drop just about from his preseason price tag. He was going in like the late second, early third round of startups. Now he's going in the 6th round. To Austin's team, he's building kind of a powerhouse here. Puka, Amon-Ra, Egbuka, Henderson, Bates, Barkley. I like that team. I'm looking at Bowers, Mahomes, the rookie 103, George Pickens, rookie 107, and rookie 108. So 3 of the first 8 picks in the draft. I've got my tight end 1, I've got my quarterback 1, I've got my wide receiver 1. I'm doing my best here. Yeah, we still have some other Eagles on the board that are eligible picks. I'm hoping you guys will finally start valuing these rookie picks appropriately so I can draft some players, but if I have to take all kickers, I'll do it. I'll do it for the bit. I don't care. Cam Ward, kind of a fun, interesting pick. We saw some signs of life recently. I could definitely see him growing in value here down the stretch. George Kittle, kind of the exact opposite of Cam Ward. Probably the first over 30 player we've seen go in this. McCaffrey went. He's going to be 30 next year, I think. Kittle is 32 now. Probably a little bit higher than I would have taken the shot on George Kittle, but I understand. He's still playing at a really high level. We saw Kelsey give us, near peak seasons until he was like 34, but does still feel like a high price. Can't believe JJ McCarthy hasn't gone. He had so much hype coming into the season. It's definitely fizzled a little. We're going to get an auto pick here from Samuel Warren. I don't see a green dot on the screen. Samuel, come back. Okay, he picked. False alarm. I'm trying to look ahead here, get some picks set up. Joe Fesco's 109, 110. Then we see RJ Harvey come off the board. Trying to line up these next couple picks. AJ Brown, Devonta Smith all coming off the board in close proximity. I got to scroll down a little bit and find these names on my sheet. Get rid of him. Getting into that late first round range. Who would you take over the 111, the 112? I think there's a handful of players I'd be happy with over the next rookie pick. We'll see if they go. Chase Brown, not one of them. Not for me. I think that's a little much. A little too much faith in Chase Brown for me. I just don't have that much faith in the talent. I think he's kind of a sell right now, to be honest, with Samaje Perine coming back. I know he caught 7 passes last night, but in general, I think we're going to see that role return closer to early season. There's going to be more efficiency there with Burrow healthy, but I don't know. I'm skeptical, and I don't know what happens with him in the offseason. Goff is a nice safe pick. I can already... oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. Okay, I was totally ready to take Burden. Frielster's going to take the other guy I wanted. I'll end up taking some bums I don't even want. Harold Fannin, 709. 111 goes. Oh, let's go. Okay. Okay, we're good. We're chilling. My guys are here. I definitely thought Frielster was going to take Jordan Addison, which is who I'm taking here with my first pick. He goes Sam Laporta instead. Fandon over Laporta is an interesting choice for sure. Not saying it's wrong, just not how I have it ranked. I could go quarterback here. I think I'll pass, though. I know how the quarterbacks tend to be in these things. So I'm going to pass on quarterback. I'm going to take Addison. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and bet on a change of scenery here for my guy, Ken Walker. And I'm going to hope that he can find himself some greener pastures in free agency, maybe a team that actually appreciates him. Slayer, question about Watson. I assume you mean Christian Watson. He could be a good buy. I mean, I think he's kind of in that late second value range where he's kind of hitting his stride. I struggle to pay a lot for him because Jaden Reed is still out. Matthew Golden is limited. Like, I don't know how this current volume and role is going to hold. And in general, it's just a team that seems very volatile in the passing game week to week. But yeah, late second value, I think he'd be a totally fine player to buy. Probably more in like three wide receiver league. Yeah, I've noticed this too. Quarterbacks always seem to fall in mock drafts and then they get snagged in real drafts. It's because it's in Superflex, there is an element of fear when you don't have quarterbacks, and there's no fear in a mock draft that you're like screwing your team over long term. You just want to draft fun players, and you don't really care about what the team looks like, long term. So you don't have to worry about it as much if your quarterback room is really gross or volatile. But I have found that there's a different dynamic when the draft actually counts. There are a couple slight fallers here that I'm curious to see where they go. Pearsall, I think, is a good pick there. It's been a rough couple games since he came back, but I do think we'll see better from him. Just for anybody that wants to count them up, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 rookie picks. So the next rookie pick will be the last first rounder. 112, there it goes. To JMO, 222, he gets the 112 pick. All right, Darnold was one of those fallers. I think that's a good value on Darnold. I mean, he doesn't light it up every week because it seems like he only has to drop back like 23 times and then the Seahawks win. But he's been pretty solid, and he's, I mean, clearly played himself into a longer term starting gig. Like there's no job security risk there anymore, which is nice. Definitely was not convinced of that heading into the season, but he has since proven it to some degree. This feels like kind of the part of the draft where you want to be betting on value risers, players that are going to maybe end the season on a high note, carry some hype into the offseason. I don't think that Matthew Golden's going to be that guy, but he could be. He fits the bill from an archetype standpoint. I just haven't been too impressed. And then there are still those rookie picks as well, where you can take that. You can also take that route. We got DK Metcalf off the board at 8-10. Got to lock in those 11.5 points per game as soon as possible. Interestingly, we have a handful of teams that have not taken a pick yet. Samuel Warren, the 102 to the 104 have not drafted any rookie picks. Neither have our 108, 109 teams. So these are your more win now teams. I'll admit Hurts, Jefferson, Warren, Taylor, McCaffrey, Waddle is a pretty strong core for immediate production. This one's pretty interesting too. May, London, McMillan, Adunze. But you do have Kraft, you have Ward. So you have some injury discounts, some developmental players for sure. Javonte is a big faller. I'm curious the reason there. I think the main reason is probably just that he's so far down the board that you have to remember he's there. I'm guessing that's why he hasn't gone yet, but he was my highest ranked player that was available for like an entire round. But it's interesting because he's not under contract for next year. So do we think the Cowboys are going to re-sign him? They've been pretty hesitant to give contracts out to running backs for a little while now. Does he go somewhere else and start? Has he proven enough to command that type of volume elsewhere? And then Adams is an interesting pick, just in the sense that he's 33 years old or almost 33 years old. I can look that up. Devontae will be 33 on Christmas Eve. So he'll be 33 next year, and he'll be closer to 34 than 33 or 32. So to take a player at that age over the rookie 201, I think is interesting. He's obviously been super effective. There's no guarantee that he's going to fall off and not be effective next year. It's just a risk, right? It's just it can be a little bit scary. I think that I would rather have the pick right now. If I'm being honest, I'd rather go back and try to buy that player later once I'm convinced that that they still have it. I don't know. I do think he'll be a player that loses value in the offseason and is much easier to get because of the age. Like there are going to be a lot of teams that just don't want to touch a player that is that age or aren't convinced that he can run it back and perform. And as we've seen with Mike Evans, any injury that keeps you out for a month or a month and a half, you're pretty much nuked at that point. Like, you have no value. Nobody really believes that you're going to produce when you come back. It just is kind of over just like that. On Mike Evans and the Bucs, though, apparently Baker's probably going to play this week, which seems crazy to me. And then Mike Evans could actually be back as soon as next week. So they could have Godwin, Evans, Igbuka, Baker all back, Bucky as well. Could be interesting. Kyler Murray, I think is actually a really good value. I had him top of my queue for a while. He is kind of a toxic asset to hold right now or to have, but I think we're going to see him get a little bit of a change of scenery, and I would frankly be shocked if he's not a week one starting quarterback, just given the state of the position across the league. I think he's pretty clearly a top 32 quarterback, probably more like at least a top like 25 quarterback. And I just don't foresee this number one overall pick, former number one pick, washing out of the league at 28 or whatever he is. I think he's absolutely getting another crack at it. And he's not as prolific a rusher as he used to be, but he's still like fairly fantasy friendly. You guys are emptying my queue right now with these picks. These are actually insane, brutal picks for what I was planning. So now I'm a little bit confused and lost. I've got some ideas, but what was the last rookie pick that we had? 201 and 202 are off the board. So I'm looking at 203 as the next rookie pick. And I had Tootin in the queue. I had Higgins in the queue. I had Kyler in the queue. I'm getting just brutalized here. I just don't see myself taking any of these remaining players over the pick, at least the next pick. So I'm going to take one kicker here. Shout out Jake Elliott. And after that, I think I'm willing to bet. I think I'm willing to bet on one more ride for Mr. Matthew Stafford. Pair him with Mahomes. Give myself that QB2 security in a super flex league. I mean, I guess not total security in the sense that he could retire or whatever, but give myself a chance in year one. It's not that high of a price to pay. Then we go 204, 205. The big dog finally comes off the board here, Derrick Henry. I don't know when it's going to be the end for Henry. I don't know if we should think that there's risk he's not back next year, or if we should think he's definitely back next year, but maybe he's not as effective. I don't know. Hard to say. Player his age. He's 31. He'll be 32, I think, before the start of next season. So that's pretty old for a running back that's gotten the kind of volume he's gotten. Bryce Young strikes me as a bit of a risky selection, just in the sense that he's been so poor for so much of his NFL career. It's like, you know, when is it over? I don't know. He's shown occasional flashes and then just so much bad, you know. I don't have enough faith to invest in him because I just don't even really buy into him as a high upside fantasy quarterback, let alone a secure one. But I understand the bet. When the quarterbacks are getting thin, you don't have a ton of options. We see Wandale go. He's kind of come out of nowhere this year to have like a ridiculously usable season. He's not lighting it up or anything, but he's at like 13 points per game. Been a guy you can start. He's had some spike weeks. He's very much been what I was hoping Josh Downs would be. And he's definitely benefited from a lack of competition, but I don't know. He looked pretty awesome in that most recent game where Winston was just slinging it. Do I usually set this to 30-second clocks? Is that why this has been taking longer? I think that I usually do 30 seconds, and that's why this is taking longer. That didn't even occur to me. Once we get to my next set of picks, I'm going to turn the clock up, or turn the speed up a little bit, just so we can get to the end of this draft and maybe have a little bit of time to talk about it before I have to close this thing down and get myself mentally prepared for the Eagles to play football. We've had some picks further down the board here with Caleb Johnson, Tyler Shuck, Christian Watson. Interesting. Jaden Reed was top of my queue. I'm hoping he'll be back here sometime soon. And we're up to rookie pick 207. Oh, man, I love the Charbonnet pick. I was actually... There goes another one. There goes another one from my queue. Charbonnet, Reed, Wandale. Definitely like those. There's like one more player I even want to draft. Let's see. Let me get some more in the queue, I guess. We all know I'm just going to take kickers anyway. Let's see. We're getting to a range of like total unknown young guys versus like gross old players that are producing right now but might not produce later. It's pretty tough. Oh man, Woody Marks. So sick of having Austin in these drafts, man. Dude just decimates my queue every time. Didn't even have time to get Stephon Diggs in the queue. Sorry, this isn't really good content for me to just be ranting about players getting taken. Terrence Ferguson, 11-9. Michael Penix, a bit of a bet on the younger quarterback coming back from the injury. I'm super nervous about Penix, like, because he's had this injury history, whether we even see him come back at all. is definitely on my mind. We get Chim DK here at 11-11 from Freelster. That's a very off the wall selection. So where are we at with picks? Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 207 still here. I'm definitely taking 207 over the rest of these players. And then after that, man, my highest ranked player has not looked good this year, and I don't really want him to mess up the aesthetic of my draft here. So I'm not going to take 9. I'm going to let someone else fall on that grenade. I'm willing to just take a bet on Alec Pierce going and finding a new home and in free agency getting a big payday and carrying some of this success over to a team that maybe has a little bit less target competition. As I said, guys, I'm going to shorten the clock here, so you're going to need to lock in for these last couple of rounds. Ooh. Apparently the draft name is too long. Okay, there we go. JJ McCarthy goes next. Freelster was braver than I. Josh Downs. Another kicker in 208. Then we get Tua. We get Jake Ferguson. These are all guys that I have in that range of the rankings. Like this all makes sense to me. Okay, those picks are maybe a little bit lower down for me. But I don't know. I don't know where those guys are going to end up. Try to update my big board here, see who's available. We're getting into the later rounds. We're getting towards the end of the available second round picks. Braylon Allen. It is get your guy season, it seems. Gino. Do we think Gino gets a chance? Does he get a chance to play somewhere next year? He's not starting for the... He can't be starting for the Raiders next year, I don't think. But I don't know if he gets to go somewhere else in play. It's an interesting question. Kyle Monangai, could he be the starter for the Bears? Maybe. Could be a value riser here late. We've definitely seen crazier things. Torrey Horton. I like Torrey Horton as a sneaky buy and a sneaky pick right now. I can get behind that. I'm surprised we have not seen a certain quarterback go off the board. That's as specific as I'll be, but I do find that interesting. And these are a lot of very sus players we're taking over, late second round picks. Yeah, that's the guy I was thinking of. I thought Shedeur would go higher, to be honest. I got to be honest. I do not see myself taking the majority of these players over like the 209, the 210. I just think we're going to be able to talk ourselves into prospects there. These guys are like very fringy, very low insulation. Somebody like Braylon Allen, I guess you're betting on Brees goes elsewhere and they don't bring in someone. That seems like such a low percentage outcome to me. Like, I think Brees is going to get tagged or extended, and you're going to have a handcuff running back at best. But I don't know. I'm cool with the bets on rookies like Trey Harris, Torrey Horton. Maybe those guys can show us something here late. Sutton feels like a great value relative to some of these other wide receivers. He hasn't been lighting it up, but I think he's still a good player. I would have taken him with my pick. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, it's a punter. Huh. Okay, got to be different. 208 goes 208 or no, 209 goes to Lucas Williams. That's a good little reference point if you're wondering what pick we're on. The punter is 209, so where you see that punter. Swift, good pick. I think I would have finally gone ahead and pulled the trigger on him. And then we get 210 off the board. All right. All right. Okay. Yeah. I see. I think I see what I like, what picks I like here. I'm definitely going to go Jalen Noel with one of them. And then I think I'll take Isaiah Likely. And willing to bet on potentially a changing of the guard in Baltimore at the tight end spot. Maybe Mark Andrews leaves. I think he's a free agent. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But if he does leave, I think the hype machine is going to get me a little bit of a value win on that pick, even before I have to make any decisions, before any games are played. So I'll take my shot. Michael Wilson, recent breakout. Crazy that you get the Cardinals wide receiver 1 10 rounds after the Cardinals wide receiver 2. I mean, how does that make any sense, guys? Yo, shout out to guys named Patterson. Riley Patterson 14-6. That's our I want to say our 211 pick. Yeah, 211 pick. Some rookie running backs in Sampson and Neal. Austin just doesn't need quarterbacks, huh? He's got one quarterback. Jared Goff. We have any worse looking quarterback rooms than that? I don't think so. Jacoby Myers. Nice boring pick. Probably good for your, get your flex position points filled when you need them. I'm curious if he goes back to Jacksonville, because that's going to be very crowded between Thomas, Hunter, and Myers. I think it's probably better for all parties involved if he just signs elsewhere. No, I agree, Austin. You could definitely trade. I'm not saying you have to take quarterbacks. It's just interesting. We get Anthony Richardson over Justin Fields. That's how over it is, guys. And then we get the 212 and the 301. Ray Davis. Samuel Warren is handcuffing his own running back with James Cook and Ray Davis. David Montgomery is also drafted to be a handcuff behind Jahmyr Gibbs. We got 2 rounds to go here. Maybe some interesting names left on the board. Using interesting pretty loosely, I think, in that context. Darnell Mooney. You guys need to scroll down more. You're all too tethered to the preseason ADP. Oh, I wanted Algier bad. That's a good pick. I love the Algier pick, guys. Because he's a free agent. So, like, at worst, he goes back to Atlanta and he's just this high upside handcuff. But, like, what if he does go and sign somewhere to be a starter? That's very, very enticing. All right. I've got 2 picks left to close this thing out. Let's try to go somewhere fun with it. We've got rookie pick 303 as the best available. I think I'll take some players over that. I'll go Tajay Spears with one of those picks. And man. I'll go Kayshawn. Even though I've been kind of a hater. Just for fun. I like Jonathan Brooks too. I almost clicked him. I think there are some boring vets that are still available here that are going to be useful next season. Like Romeo Dobbs, Rashid Shaheed are still here. Keon Coleman has yet to be drafted. I guess we're just totally done with that guy. Isaiah Pacheco, Jerry Jeudy, Hunter Henry. There's Mark Andrews. I'm going to try to update this so I can see who my best availables were. Oh, Tom Brady. Good pick. Got to get that quarterback in there. I hear he's coming out of retirement. Man, how much do you guys hate Tyrone Tracy? This is crazy. Travis Kelce. Is Travis Kelce playing football next year? I feel like the answer is like definitely no. Milrow. Brooks. Sampson. Another kicker. Jalen McMillan. And Tyreek Hill. Closing it out. Some gross picks there, guys. Well done. So looking at my board, best available, Tyrone Tracy is by far my highest ranked available player. I'm kind of confused why he didn't get picked over some of these other running backs. Like, at worst, he's the Giants' handcuff next year, right? I don't know. And then we have Aaron Jones. He might retire. Romeo Dobbs, Rashid Shaheed, Deebo Samuel. Oh, Deebo went. Yeah, Romeo Dobbs, Rashid Shaheed. I guess they're boring. I don't really fault anyone, I guess, for passing on them, but probably, I mean, over Jalen McMillan, right? I don't know. Keon, Pacheco, Iomanner. I almost took Ellick. Curious that he didn't go. Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Arroyo, Hunter Henry, Juwan Johnson, Ramondre Stevenson, Jalen Coker, Brian Robinson, Ollie Gordon. Those would be some of my highest ranked that didn't go. I'm surprised Parker Washington didn't sneak in here off of his recent performances. But yeah, Algier is definitely a good pick. There are some sneaky guys that could boost their value. I think Algier is one of them. I think Charbonnet is kind of the same deal where if Walker goes, he's going to get a boost. There might be some risk that they draft someone else and keep him in a committee. Like, I wouldn't want my team to be using Zach Charbonnet in a workhorse role, but you'll at least get some kind of a market bump there. And if they do let Walker go, it's probably safe to assume that Charbonnet would be a big riser and be the primary guy. I do like the Barner pick. AJ Barner here, 1509. He's been growing his role. Like, it's weird. I think he had a pretty bad 40 time coming out, and I think there was some legit questions about his athleticism. Could he be a real receiving weapon, or is he just a blocking tight end? But the way that he's utilized in this Seahawks offense, he's been able to put up some decent stat lines, a couple of high volume games, mostly a touchdown guy, but he's still young, right? So he could still be improving. David Elliott with the super chat. I appreciate you. Thanks for the Black Friday entertainment. Great work. Unfortunately, in regards to the game, bear down. Hey, may the best team win. Good luck. Game kicks off in just a few minutes here, so we're going to wrap this thing up. We're not going to do another mock right now, Kevin, but hopefully we can do more in the near future. Definitely do a lot in the offseason. David, thanks again for the super chat. Appreciate you watching the stream and participating. And again, hopefully it's a good game today. Hoping the Eagles come out on top. But yeah, we'll see. All right, guys, fun draft. I'll try to post a screenshot of this, and I'm going to keep it as a reference for where these rookie picks went. Just try to keep it in mind as I update the rankings, as I plan content. Anybody that is not a YouTube member, the perks are listed here on the screen. You can also click the link pinned in the chat or in the description to see the membership options. The rankings are updated every week. I'll be doing another private live stream tomorrow night for the members to answer questions, give advice, all that good stuff. And you can also get access to the private Discord channels where, you can tag me with questions. You can talk to the other members. It's a very cool community in there. So just wanted to let you know about that. Thank you all for hanging out today, participating in the mock, watching, commentating. Hope it was interesting to you. I'll be back Monday for the recap. Hope you guys have a great week 13. Hope you win all your matchups, and I will talk to you later.